he's the best boxer in the world fighting an MMA fighter, so in reality, everyone's saying he should get him out of there, he should definitely get him out of there. So I feel like, exactly the same, I think the first 3 rounds are going to be feeling him out, probably avoiding Conor's power and not trying to walk onto anything stupid, which you've never done in his career. So I think he's going to go for that. But then I think, as you said, as the rounds go on a little bit, I really do think he's probably going to try and get Conor.
Which might lead into Conor's hands. And one thing is that Conor, because in the boxers that technically they'll throw the jabs, they'll throw the right hand. The thing is with Conor, he's a very, very good puncher, but because he's from the mixed martial arts and the UFC, he throws punches from unusual angles. So I mean, as good as Mayweather is defensive and technically, there should be some punches coming from angles that he's not really used to. He throws that big left overhand, left
I agree. I think with MMA fighters with the smaller gloves on, we never get in close and just start trading. We're always trying to step to the side and throw a shot over like a looping hook over the back of the side of the ears or whatever. It's not really like we're not just trying to stay here. So the old mechanics of the way McGregor moves completely different to what Mayweather would have ever felt before. But do I think he's not wise enough to clock on to avoiding it?
Well, nobody has sussed out, but nobody has sussed out the Mayweather style. But what the punches that will come out, because normally when you're fighting someone from a boxing point of view, if I dip there, you pretty much know left hook's coming. Do you know what I mean? So if I dip that way, you pretty much know right hook's coming. But with Conor will go, whoop, and stuff like that, which Mayweather might not be used to. So that could work in his favour. But Floyd's a very thinking fighter. Do you know what I mean? He's had trouble in the past. Mosley hurt him early on in the fight, and he struggled at the start with Zab Judah. But 9 times out of 10, even if he does have a tricky start, which isn't often, he tends to suss it out in the end.
Yeah,
he
tends to solve the puzzle. He doesn't really listen too much to the coaching side of things. He's well aware of what's going on in the fight at the time. So I think McGregor's going to be really tricky for him to figure out, because he's never fought anyone that moves in this sort of style, because they're completely different sports. But I do feel like he'll probably pick it up quite quick of how he's moving.
And you bear in mind, he's 40 years of age, Floyd, and he's a young, fresh 40 years of age, because he's got a good defence. Unlike me, he'd either make a miss than take one. You know what I mean? So I mean, I got stuck in and was aggressive. Where Floyd, master of defence, avoids shots, dedicated, looks after his body. You know what I mean? When you look at it from that point of view, there's not many miles on Floyd's clock, because he never takes any punches. He's looked after his body. He's a pure athlete, so he will be pretty fresh. But he still is 40. And you know what? He's not fought for a couple of years. McGregor's at the height of his game. If he sets a good high tempo and a good high work rate, stays on top of him and keeps the work rate up, because I think it was working for me. I kept the work rate high. I was never going to beat him on ability. I was never going to beat him on boxing. But because I stayed in his face and kept the work rate high, providing he gets a ref that lets him get away with it, I think that might be an idea for him to, to use his youth, if you like.
Yeah, but like you said, I feel like Mayweather probably does better against that type of fighter. Like you said, some of his best performances have come against fighters who've got in his face and give him a hard time. They've walked on to bigger shots, which is not something that he's known for. But when they're coming forward, putting that pressure on him, which I do think, if McGregor's losing them first couple of rounds, I feel like that's what he's going to try and do, is really push the pace, because he is, I think, he's fought up at 170, and this fight 155, I think. So he's going to be the bigger man, but.
It's interesting, because I sort of always said, listen, I couldn't solve the puzzle, De La Hoya couldn't solve the puzzle, none of Canelo couldn't solve the puzzle. It's only when you stand and you talk and you throw a few ideas at the world that he has got a pretty decent chance. I'm sceptical still, because I just think, we've all struggled so much. How's Conor going to do it? But when you stand and you talk about it and you throw a few things into the equation, you never know. It's not really as much as a foregone conclusion as you think. When I refereed Floyd, he didn't let him anywhere. He didn't let me anywhere near him. And I hope a referee lets Conor get great work, because he has. His best attribute is probably his physical strength as well. So if he can put that on Floyd and stay close, and the referee allows him, to punch away, I think he's got a I think that's got a decent chance. And if he's 40 years of age and he can, you know, he gets allowed to use his strength in them early rounds, with him being 40 years of age, down the straight, Conor could get to him, you never know.
Yeah, but you've seen Conor slow down, like in the fight with Nate Diaz, he slowed down as well as the pace was getting a bit high. So I'm thinking going from like a 3 5-minute round fight to a 12 3-minute rounds, then it's a different sort of style. Obviously boxing, he could, if he's in his face working him, but I could still see McGregor not really going to be able to push the pace on Mayweather as much as what you might think, just because of the age difference.
Yeah, well, they always, the rumours are is that, you know, especially when I went there, and the last time, you know, when I went there, Conor's going to bring a similar following over. You know, I mean, big crowd following. Yeah. And don't forget, Floyd's in his hometown and everything like that. And, you know, there is some that Floyd never moves out of Las Vegas because he's got it cushy and looked after and that. So bearing in mind whatever referee he gets, that might be at the frame of his mind. If I protect him too much, you know, the last time a great British fighter came over to these Isles, he got stitched up. So the referee might have that, you know, in his back of his mind, thinking, I've got to let him have a go because otherwise, you know. So, you know, you never know.
I feel like that's the type of fight McGregor's going to need, is if the ref lets him get involved, lets him get involved and throw them big shots. Because he's, like you said, he's a massive puncher. He's a massive puncher. He's obviously not going to be as accurate as some of the top pro boxers and the top level elite guys.
And when it's close quarters, he might be, you know, I mean, that was my game, up close and in the clinches. And if the referee lets him have a fight up close in the clinches, you know, with Conor being from the UFC, you know, that he might know a few more tricks than I do up close, you never know. So I mean, if the referee lets him have a crack, and I think, you know, when I look back at it and I look at this fight, I hope the referee lets Conor have a go, because I mean, I'm not saying I'd have won the fight anyway if the referee had let me have a go, but all you want is a fair crack of the whip, don't you? And I think Conor goes there and he must be thinking the same as me. Just give me a fair shout, just let me have a go at him. And if he lets him have a fight, with his strength as well, I think that with 40 years of age that Floyd is as well, that's the time we might see him, you know, dwindle a little bit. And if Conor can put his foot on the gas from there on in, you know, it may get a late stoppage or maybe even a points win. But I think it's I think Conor will probably say, listen, I don't mind losing the early rounds, as long as bit by bit I can sap his strength and drain him and slow him down a little bit, you know. You'd have to say with Mayweather's boxing ability, the early part of the fight, you'd like to think Floyd is, but you know, eventually, if he gets given the opportunity to by the referee to keep on him, by the time it gets around 6, 7, 8, then that could be Conor's part of the fight. Yeah, if he can slow him down as he's, you know, dictate the pace even, so he's pushing the pace on him. I can really see Mayweather slowing down. Like I say, he's 40 years of age. He may be a healthy, fit 40 years of age, but he's still 40. Hopefully, in the back of his mind, I don't know whether he's sat in his mansion over there in Las Vegas thinking, oh, this fella's no chance against me. If he's took him ever so lightly, which you like to think the reason why he is the best he wouldn't have done. But you know, from our point of view, I'm in the corner of Conor's. You know, hopefully, you know, he might be thinking this fella's going to get nowhere near me. You know, if he thinks that might work in Conor's favour as well. If he's took the fight lightly, maybe not trained like he has done in the past, because he thinks this fella's not going to have it in his armoury to beat me. You struggle to give McGregor the chance at the minute, but I think he must be sat at home doing the exact same thing, because, like, even from the MMA point of view, we don't think we can box with the elite yet, but Mayweather and McGregor seem like a matchup where that could possibly change. But I say this with love for Conor. If he's thinking the way I'm thinking, lovely.